Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, and welcome back to today's Daf Yomi, which is Yevamos Daf Tes Zayin. We begin right on the top line. Okay, so we're back to the sugya of Beis Shammai Beis Hillel regarding Tzoras Erva. Reuven and Shimon were brothers. Reuven passes away without children. He was married to two Nashim, Rachel and Leah, Rachel being an erva to Shimon, surviving brother Shimon's daughter. Leah was the other wife, the competing wife, so to speak, the tzara. Rachel is certainly not going to fall liyibum because she's an erva on Shimon. What about the tzara? Beis Shammai say tzara goes liyibum. So the brothers apply yibum to the tzara, whereas Beis Hillel hold, just as the erva's potter from yibum, that ptur extends and spills over to the tzara as well. We pass like Beis Hillel, but did Beis Shammai actually carry out their halacha? Did they apply yibum to a tzara or not? That was the question. The ongoing, the question that we were dealing with the last few days. And we sort of proved it yesterday from a brisa where it seemed like Beis Shammai did actually apply their halacha l'maisa. They applied yibum to the tzara tashma. Here comes another raya. Then in fact, that halacha was carried through. B'mei Rabbi Doisa ben Harkinas. The following story took place during the lifetime of Rabbi Doisa, the son of Harkinas. Hutra tzoras habas la'achin. It became accepted that the tzoras erva, tzoras habas, falls to yibum. The brothers apply yibum. Shma mina asu, shma mina. This is a clear raya that indeed they did carry out Beis Shammai shita. Gufa, let's review the halacha again. We had a story that happened b'mei Rabbi Doisa ben Harkinas. Hitiru tzoras habas la'achin. They were mate tzoras habas to the brothers for yibum. V'haya hadavar kashel chacham. Chacham had a very hard time dealing with this, because they knew that the halacha is meant to follow Beis Hillel. That's how we paskin. And since this took place in the time of Rabbi Doisa, who was a great chacham, he was a great chacham, and they thought he was the source. He was the one who paskined. He's the one that ruled to be matir tzoras habas in accordance with Beis Shammai. And they were going to try to undo this somehow. He was a big chacham, ve'enav kamu, milave the Beis HaMedrash. His eyes were no longer functioning properly, and he couldn't come to the Beis HaMedrash. So they were going to try to figure out a way to go over to him and question him and challenge him and try to rescind this ruling, in order that the tzibur follows Beis Hillel. Amar, so they said, Amru mi yelech v'yedienu v'yediya. Who's going to go visit Rabbi Doisa ben Harkinas and inform him, tell him that, we're meant to follow Beis Hillel, not Beis Shammai. Amar lehen Rabbi Shua. So Rabbi Shua volunteered. He says, Ani yelech, I'm going to go. V'achrav mi, who's going to go after him? Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. V'achrav mi, after him, who's going to join? Rabbi Akiva. Holchu, all three went. V'amdu al Pesach Beisai, and they went and they stood by the doorway of his home. Nichnas hashiv chasoi. So his maidservant went into him. Armelain, she tells him, Rabbi, Chachmi Yisrael born etzlach. Look, such chashiv visitors. Chachmi Yisrael came. Armelain, he tells her, you can't, so let them come in. V'nichnas, and they went in. So as we mentioned, he couldn't really see well. Tafsir Rabbi Shua, so he grabbed hold of Rabbi Shua, v'shiveyu al mita shel zav, and placed him, sat him down on a golden bed. Amar loy, so Rabbi Shua turns to Rabbi Doisa, Rabbi, Emar l'talmidecha achar v'yeshiv. You should also tell the other Talmud to sit down. I'm not alone, I have company. Amar loy, so Rabbi Doisa tells him, me who? Who's the other Talmud here? So he told him, it's Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. Omar, so he said, he was so impressed. V'yeshle ben Lazarya chavirenu. Do you mean to say our friend Azariah had a son who's a tzaddik, who's a chacham? Wow, how lucky! Kara olav hamikra hazeh. He applied this pasuk, Na'ar hayisi gam zakanti. I was younger and then I became older. And I saw that Hashem does not forsake a tzaddik. A tzaddik has a son who continues in his footsteps. I never saw that a tzaddik should have a zera should be desperate for lechem, for whether gashmius, whether ruchnius. Ultimately, the tzaddik achieves success even amongst his descendants. Once again, he sat him down on a golden bed. Amar Loi, so Bishor follows through again. He says, there's still a third one here. Rebbe, Emar the Talmid Cha'achar v'yeshev. You should invite your other Talmud to sit down as well. Amar Loi, so Rabbi Doisa asks him, who's the third Talmud? I can't see. Umiyu. So he told him, Akiva, the son of Yosef, Akiva ben Yosef, famous Rabbi Akiva. Amar Loi. So Rabbi Doisa says to him, Atahu, Akiva ben Yosef, do you mean to say you're the famous Akiva ben Yosef? Sheshimcha hoilich misayf, oilam atzayf, whose fame and reputation spreads through the entire world? Shev b'ni shev, sit my son, sit down. Kamoischa yirbu b'Yisrael, there should be many like you amongst Klal Yisrael. Okay, so after this nice welcome, they figured they'll get to the point. But they couldn't get to the point right away. They didn't want to make it a threatening confrontation. So they decided they'll beat around the bush. They'll engage him in other halachas, and ultimately they'll arrive at the halacha of tzaras erva. So what do? They started discussing all kinds of halachas. Until they got to the point to tzaras habas. Armorlay, they figured, okay, now it's a good time. They ask him, tzaras habas mao. What's the halacha when it comes to tzaras erva? Shimutar li ma'aseh. Armorlay, he says, look, I'll tell you the truth. It's an old machlokes. Machlokes beis Shammai, beis Hillel. Okay, so they asked him, halacha divrei mi? Who does the halacha follow? Amar Lansi says, well, of course, halacha beis Hillel. Tzaras erva is aser. When they heard this, they were surprised, because they had figured that he was the catalyst, he was the source of that halacha that we follow beis Shammai. Amar Lansi, they tell him, Alay mishimcha amru. In your name, it's been said that halacha beis Shammai, that the tzaras erva is mutar. Amar Lansi tells them, check your sources. Doisa shematim. When you heard that I hold like beis Shammai, was it Rabbi Doisa ben Harkinas with the name Doisa attached to it, or rather Ben Harkinas? Shematim, only Ben Harkinas. Was it the son of Harkinas, or specifically myself, Ben Doisa, Rabbi Doisa? It says, look, we didn't realize there was a difference. Chayi Rebbe, in the life of Rebbe, they were making a shvur. We promised Stam Shemanu. Actually, it was not the name of Rabbi Doisa ben Harkinas, it was Ben Harkinas, and we thought it was you. Amar Lem, oh, that's the mistake. It wasn't me. It was my brother. Ben Harkinas, my brother. Yonis and Ben Harkinas, my brother. Ach Kotten Yeshli, I have this young brother. B'chor Satan. B'chor Satan hu. He's very smart. He's like a b'chor, like the oldest child, very smart, intellectual. And he's a Satan. Rashi says he's very adamant when it comes to his position. He's not gonna concede too easily. Actually, in the Ein Yaakov, there's a girsa b'chor shanun. The printer must have mixed up the nun and vav and turned into a tes. So instead of Satan, shanun, meaning very sharp. The Yonasan Shemai, his name is Yonasan, and that's who you heard it from. The halacha that you hear going out there, it's not me, it's Ben Harkinas, Yonas Ben Harkinas. He's the source of that shita. And yeah, he's Talmidei Shammai. Of course, he's from the Talmidei Shammai, and that's why he holds that it's tzaras erva is mutar. But of course, I disagree. Now, if you want to take him on, be careful. He's very sharp. Vizaru. Be careful that he doesn't throw you off with his halachas, meaning that he doesn't win the debate. He has 300 responses, 300 answers to any question that can be posed when it comes to tzaras habas. And he has 300 reasons she muteris, that she is muter. But I'll tell you the truth, I disagree. Because that's the Kabbalah and Klal Yisrael that tzaras habas is asur. Aval meid ani alai. Shemaim words. I present heaven as earth as witnesses. Shal meducha zu. He was pointing at a certain stool, an overturned mortar. On this mortar, Yoshav Chagai Hanavi v'Amar. Chagai Hanavi sat down. He said 3 halachas. V'Amar shleisha dvarim. In the name of Moshe Rabbeinu, this is a Kabbalah. Number 1, Tzaras Abbas Asura, like Beis Hillel. Number 2, Amoinu. 3 unrelated halachas. Number 2, Amoinu Moyev Asrin Masur Ani B'Shvius. We're going to get to this soon. And Amoinu Moyev, the lands next to Yisrael, they don't really have to do Shvius, so they worked the land on Shemitah, and they were masakin that they should separate Maser for the Aniyim, so that the Aniyim have what to live from during Shemitah when the land in Yisrael is fallow and not producing much Maser Ani. So that was number 2. Number 3, Umakablin Gerim Midha Karduyin or Minha Tarmudim. These nations, Karduyin, Tarmudim, they can supply Gerim. We can accept Gerim from them. We assume them to be pure Goyim, as opposed to a concern of perhaps that they're really Mamzerim, they're the children there are from Bnei Yisrael that live with the Goyim, and the resulting child is a Mamzer. No, we're not concerned about that, and therefore we can accept Gerim from these lands, from these nations. In any case, Rabbi Yehuda ben Harkness wasn't putting up a fight. Quite the contrary. He was supporting their opinion. I know by Kabbalah from Chagai Hanavi, Tzoras Abbas is Asur like Beis Hillel. It's my brother who's at fault. He's the one spreading that halacha that she's mutter. Tana, we learned in a brayso, on the way out, they were looking for him. Kshenichnasu, when they went into the home, nichnasu pesach echad, they came on all 3 through one door. Ksheyatsu, when they left, yatsu b'shleisha pesachim, they went out each one through a different doorway. Taisus brings 2 pshatim. Either, number 1, because they were concerned that they were going to encounter him and he's going to win them over. Now, if they're all 3 together, they have to concede to him, and the halacha will become established like that. So they avoided confronting him. They went through different ways. This way, at most, he'll win over one chacham, but not the other ones. Inami, another pshat says Taisus, they went out through 3 different doors to try to find him, hoping they're going to meet him outside. In fact, that's what happened. So Rabbi Yehuda, his brother, meets up with Rabbi Kiva on the way out. Actually, he asked Rabbi Kiva some strong kasha in learning. And Rabbi Kiva responded. He answered the kasha. So Yonasan ben Harkness was very impressed with Rabbi Kiva. Amar he tells him, Atu Akiva, you're the famous Akiva sheshimcha hilach miseifa ilam atzeifa, whose fame and name and reputation spreads throughout. Ashrecha shazakisa l'shem. Fortunate are you, lucky are you that you are zeicha to such a great name. But here came the punchline. He was trying to hint him regarding the halach of Tzaras Abbas. Apparently he knew what they were coming for. So he throws by him a subtle message. But I'm not going to agree to you when it comes to Tzaras Abbas. Not that. V'adayin lo yigata l'roi bakar. You haven't reached the madrega of the royim, the shepherds who would shepherd the bakar, the large animals. Amar lo, so Rekiva responds, you're right. Amar lo Rekiva, v'afilu l'roi etzayin. I haven't even reached the level of the royei etzayin, of the gentle, of the sheep animals. Even that I haven't reached. So what do they have in mind? So Marsha says, what they meant is like this. Although I know, right? You understand? I know that Chagai Hanavi has been quoted as saying Tzoras Abbas is Asur, but he's from the last Nevi'im, right? The Mishnah in Saita says, Mishamesu Chagai is a Chayev or Malachi Batla Nevu. No, we don't no longer have Nevu. They were the last Nevi'im, so they were sort of on the bottom of the list of Nevi'im. So although Chagai Hanavi is testifying as such that Tzoras Abbas is Asur, but go back to the previous Nevi'im, the ones that were Royei Bakar, the ones that were more chashav than the last Nevi'im. They were the ones that tended to the large animals, greater madrega, earlier Nevi'im. You can't match up to them. And therefore, I don't have to. Let's not rely on his sheet. Rabbi Kiva responds, "Va'filu l'royei etzayin." You're making a mistake. He didn't initiate this concept. It came back from the Kabbalah of Moshe Rabbeinu, who was a royei etzayin, who grazed, who pastured the sheep of his father-in-law Yisro. He was the source of this halacha. It's Kabbalah of Halacha Mishim Sinai that Atzoras Habas is Asr. It's based on Gzeira Shava, which were Makal from Sinai, and therefore we stick to our guns. So he quoted 3 halachas in the name of Chagai Hanavi. Atzoras Habas Asura. Number 2, Amoin Umoyav Ma'asrin Ma'asr Ani B'Shvius. How did this come about? Damar Mars we learned. Harbe Krachim. There were many cities. Kav Sho'el Mitzrayim. The Bnei Yisrael, on the way into Eretz Yisrael, coming out of Mitzrayim, they captured. They were Mekadosh. But then when they left Eretz Yisrael to Bavel and came back by second Beis HaMikdash, they did not recapture those towns. V'lo Kav Sho'el Bavel. In which case it stays non-Kaddish. Why? Because the Kedusha expires once Yisrael leave the land. Kedusha of the land is dependent upon our presence there. Kedusha Rishona, the initial Kedusha, when they came into Yisrael the first time, Kitcha L'Shata was a temporary Kedusha for the time being, as long as Yisrael are present in Eretz Yisrael. V'lo Kitcha L'Shad, but it was not Kaddish for all time. That's this Shita. Machlekes about it, but this Shita held that it's not Kaddish L'Asad Lavai, and therefore, when they came back, they left out some Mekaymes, V'nicham. They did not incorporate these lands of Ammon and Moav right outside Eretz Yisrael, right outside the Yarden. Kadei sheyismechu aleim aniyim b'shvius. This way they can work the land on Shemitah, because it's not Eretz Yisrael. And now, the Aniyim can have sustenance. They can be supplied with leket, shikha, peya, maser ani. This was a special takana, and this was taught by Chagai Hanavi. Number 3, umakablum gerim, minakarduyim, vatarmudim. We're not concerned about these nations. Perhaps they have mamzerim there. No, we're not concerned that the Jewish daughters mixed into those nations and produced mamzerim by living with the Goyim. We're not concerned, and therefore we treat them as pure Goyim who are eligible for Gerus. Eini, is that so? V'atani Rami Bar Yecheskel, we learned in a brayso, Ein Mekablim Gerim Minakar Duyim. We're concerned that perhaps there are Mamzerim there. Amar Rav Ashi Kartuyim Itmar. When the brayso tells us we're not Mekabel Gerim from these places, it's not Karduyim with a dalad, rather Kartuyim, it's a different place. Kadamri Inshi Kartuyim Psum, this nation, these Kartuyim are possible. But Karduyim are kosher. Vikadamri, there's another version of this account. Tani Rami Bar Yecheskel. We had a kasha. Here we say Makabel Gerim from the Karduyim people, from Talmudim people, and there we have a brayso. Tani Rami Bar Yecheskel. Ein Makabel Gerim Minahar Kartuyim. So he said it with a tough. And the Gemara thought perhaps it's the same thing. Kartuyim and Karduyim are the same. My love should not assume Hanu Kartuyim, Hanu Karduyim is all the same thing. Rav Ashi came and he says, no, Rav Ashi, the big difference. A different nation. Loi Kartuya Lechud, those are the Psulim. The Karduy Lechud, Karduy are separate, those are the Kshirim. Kedam Inshi, as is commonly said, Kartuye are the ones that are Psili. They're the ones that are Mamzerim. Okay, so we have the pshat in all 3 things. Tzaras Abbas is Asr. There's Maser Ani to be given in Ammon and Moav territory. And the Karduyim and the Talmudim are assumed to be pure non-Jews and are eligible for Gerus. Here we have a dissenting view. Rabbi Yehuda and Savia, the Amr Tavari, they both said, no, Ein Mekablim Gerim Mina Talmudim. By the Talmud people, we are concerned that there are some Mamzer mixed in there, and therefore we don't accept Gerim, because a Mamzer cannot cannot marry into Klal Yisrael. Says the Gemara, Umi Amar Rabbi Yehuda Hachi. Is it so that Rabbi Yehuda is concerned about this concern? V'atanan we learned in the Mishnah. Kolak Samim Haboyim Minarekim Tohirim. So we're speaking about Ksamim of Anida. So those stains, if they're Jewish stains, they're Tameh. But if they belong to a non-Jew, a non-Jewish woman has as a stain, that stain doesn't have Tumas Nida. So all stains that arrive from the town of Rekem are presumed to be non-Jewish stains, and they're tar. Rabbi Yehuda Matami, he's concerned that perhaps it is from Yisraelis, and therefore he considers it B'tamei. V'pnei Shem, because although they're there are a lot of goyim there, but who are concerned about the Yisraelim that live there, v'toyin. And although they strayed, Rashi says, Himiru dasam, they strayed from Yiddishkeit, and they took on the non-Jewish religion, but they're still considered Yisrael, and their dam is tummy. Oh, so Rashi says an interesting thing. Tosfos says that in Rekem there were still Yisraelim. He says even though there were Yisraelim in Rekem, he's writing Mishnah and Gittin, they brought a get from Rekem. He says, but we're not concerned that the Kesem, this is according to Tanakam, we're not concerned that the Kesem that arrived from that town is from the Yisrael resident. Because he says, Yisraelim amatznim ksmeim, they hide their ksamim. They're dignified, they hide their ksamim. So any Kesem coming from Rekem is presumed to be from the non-Jew, and this tar. Rabbi Yehuda disagrees because he says even the other segments of population in this Rekem area are considered to be Jews, because most of the people there are Gerim. Either you have the Yisraelim or you have the Gerim, who although they abandoned their Jewish faith are still considered Jewish, and therefore their Kesem is tummy. So Rashi says here, Rashi's 4 lines from the bottom. V'toyim, shemiru dasam, v'gozral kismeim. So although they strayed, they left their religion, but they still have the tumah of a Kesem, sha'av pisha chatu shemiru, even though they converted, Yisraelim heim. Right, we know that Yisrael, afal pisha chatu Yisrael. We still identify them as Yisraelim with all the halachas that accompany a Yisrael. Continues the Gemara. However, if you find the Kesem from between the Goyim, so that's tar, because the Goy does not have tumas Kesem. Okay, so this is the general formula. Kesem that arrived from a Goyish place, tar. From a Jewish place is tummy. But we had a kash on this mission. Kapasik v'tani. You see, the Mishnah states it as a fact. If it comes from Oivik Chavim, it's tar. So Kapasik v'tani, it states it as an absolute clear fact. Any Kesem that arrives from between the Goyim, from a Goyish town, is tar. V'afilu min Tarmud, even from the Tarmud area, which basically means that there's no chashash. We don't suspect that there are Yisraelim there, Mamzerim there. They're pure non-Jews. V'amar Rabbi Yechanan, Zoyisei Meretz. We can deduce from here, Mikabel Geir Mitarmud, that we can accept a ger that comes forth from Talmud because they're Avdik Chavim. They're not Yisraelim Mamzerim. They're pure Avdik Chavim. And likewise, the Kesem that comes from Talmud is tar, because it's from a non-Jew. How is this compatible? How is this consistent with the earlier Rabbi Yehuda? You're not allowed to be Mekabel Ger from Talmud. We're concerned that they're not going, they're just Yisrael Mamzer. Perhaps you'll say, Zois v'lei svirle. Although Rabbi Yehuda says, we can deduce from here, Zois and Meres, that Talmud are pure non-Jews. Zois v'lei svirle. He was just commenting on the Mishnah. That's the Mishnah's opinion. He himself doesn't hold to that opinion. He holds that even in Talmud there's a concern about Yisrael. As he said earlier, that we don't accept Gerim from Talmud who are suspected of being Yisrael Mamzerim. How can you say that? Rabbi Yehuda, Halacha Gestam Mishnah. Rabbi Yehuda himself tells us we're meant to follow an anonymous Mishnah. You can't negate a Mishnah. Amarai Ninu, Valiv Rabbi Yehuda. 2 versions of Rabbi Yehuda. According to one version, we always follow the Stam Mishnah. In which case, over here we have a raya that the Talmud are considered to be Goyim. But there's another version. There's another other Amiroim disagreed with this concept of halacha Kestam Mishnah. Rabbi Yehuda never said that. We treat each Mishnah, each halacha separately. In which case, it can very well be that Rabbi Yehuda personally didn't hold this halacha of the Mishnah. He held that in Talmud there's a concern about the presence of Yisrael. And what was the concern? The concern was that perhaps some Bnei Yisrael got mixed in there, and the child that was born from the relationship, the union between the Bas Yisrael and a Goy, According to this opinion, the Gemara is considered a mamzer. And if he's a mamzer, you can't marry into Klal Yisrael. Oh, as the Gemara explains, with my time of life. What's wrong with accepting gerim from Talmud? If they're goyim, great, Megayer. If they're Israel, it's even better. What could be a concern with taking people from Talmud? Says the Gemara, there's a concern about mamzerus. How exactly did that come about? Pligibah, there was machlokes between Rabbi Yehuda and Savia as to what happened over there. Chadam, I want to explain Mishma Avdei Shlomo, concerned about the Avodim of Shlomo. Rashi says they were wealthy and powerful and goyim, and they lived in this place. And we're concerned that perhaps they coerced the Bnei Yisrael to be with them, and their children are mamzerim. V'chadam, the other one explained Mishma Bnei Yisrael, concerned about the daughters of Yishalayim that were abused, and their children are now mamzerim. We understand the Avdei Shlomo concern, because Savar Ovdei Kechavim ve'Eved Haba Bas Yisrael Avad Mamzer, because he's of the opinion that a guy, an Eved, who lives with the Bas Yisrael produces a Mamzer. But if the concern is Bnei Yisrael, what's the concern? Why would a child of a Bnei Yisrael be a mamzer? So according to the first pshat, Avdei Shlomo, they're avodim. Avodim. They marry Bas Yisrael, but there's a mamzer. And they were present in Talmud. But Bnei Yisrael, what's wrong with that? Pligiba Rav Yosef Rabban. There's machlokes between these two. V'tarvayu Mishmei, the Rabbi Barachana. They were both quoting Rabbi Barachana, who explained what happened. Chadam, I want to explain like this. So two versions of what happened. Either Chadam or Treisar Alfi Gav. During the time of Churban, there were 12,000 men, soldiers, Vishita Alfi Kashtuye, plus 6,000 arrow shooters that arrived in Yerushalayim. V'chadamar, one explained, Treisa Alfa Gavri, there were 12,000 men, 12,000 goyim, u'minayu, and from them, meaning amongst the 12, were Shita Alfi Kashtuye, 6,000 arrow shooters, and B'shah she'nichnasu Avdei Kechavim la'Heichel, when the goyim arrived and attacked the Heichel, Hakol nifnu al kesef v'zav, everybody went to look for the gold and silver, to loot the treasures of Yerushalayim. V'heim, but these individuals, nifnu al Bnei Yisrael, they turned to attack Bnei Yisrael, shenemar noshem b'tzion, inu b'sulis bar Yehuda, and therefore concerned about the offspring of these unions, which are mamzerim. Amar Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachmani, another statement from the same Amoira. Amar Rabbi Yonasan, pasuk zed, the following pasuk. Who authored it? Who said it? Sara Olam Amroi. Rashi says this is a specific malach called Sara Olam. Nar ha'yisi gam zakanti. I used to be young, I became old. Who said it? Must have been a malach. Man Amri, who could have said it? Ilam kuchabrichu Hashem himself. Mi'ika zikna kamei. Is there a concept of aging by Hashem? Impossible. Velo David Amri. It's a pasuk in Tehillim. Maybe David HaMelech said it. Mi kashish kuli hai. Since when was David HaMelech so old? He was just barely 70 years old. Elashma, we know this proves that it was said by the Sara Olam Amri. V'amar b'shmo bar Nachmani or Yenis. What does the pasuk mean? Yodai poras sar al kol machmadeh. Klal Yisrael's enemy reached out and took the most precious possessions. Who's that? Ze Ammoni Moav. These nations of Ammon and Moav, who came to attack the Torah during Churban Beis HaMikdash. When the Avdei Kechavim arrived and attacked the Heichel, Hakol nifnu al kesef v'zav, everybody turned to the gold and silver. V'heim nifnu al Sefer Torah, Ammon and Moav. They knew what to attack. They attacked the Sefer Torah. Why? They felt threatened by the Sefer Torah. Amr, they said, this scroll, this Sefer Torah, which contains the following, which cuts us out of Klal Yisrael. This Torah that negates us, doesn't allow us to join the special nation. Yisaraf Beish has to be burnt. Tziva Hashem Yaakov Svivav Tzaraf. Once we're on the topic of Megillas Eicha, Pasuk says Hashem instructed that around Yaakov, around Yisrael, there should always be Tzaraf, those that torment Klal Yisrael. Even in Golis, we have them sitting around us. Amarav Kigoin Humanya. This is a town Humanya which contained people from Ammon and Moav. Lepum Nahara, near the town of Pum Nahara where Jews resided. So even in Bavel, the Amonim followed him to Bavel, just as they surrounded them, they were next to them in Eretz Yisrael, made life difficult for them in Bavel as well. Okay, so we learned a sugya about Aved Kechav, Be'eved, Hababas Yisrael. According to some Shitas, the Vlad is Mamzer. What about the other way around? A Yisrael who lived with the Aved Kechav, Avedes Kechav. What happens then? So actually the Gemara is going to conclude soon, that's what we're passing today, that it all follows, it's all about the mother. Mother's Jewish, child's Jewish. Mother's not Jewish, child is not Jewish as well. That's going to be the Maskana Sagamar. Then here comes a new sheet. This sheet will hold that if a Yisrael has a union with Avedes Kechav, so even if the mother is non-Jewish, the child has the din of a Yisrael Mamzer. So this is the opposite of the previous Gemara. Previous Gemara was the guy who is Ba'al Bas Yisrael, had relations with the Bas Yisrael. So the child here isn't a Yisrael kosher, he's Yisrael Mamzer, he's affected by his father. Here we go the other way. A Yisrael lived with an Avedes Kechavim. According to this Shita, coming up, the child is going to be somewhat Jewish, a Mamzer. Because again, we include the father into the equation. Amar Vida Marvasi. And therefore, what's halacha l'maisa? Ovid Kechavim. Shekidesh bizman hazeh. Nowadays, a plain guy, decides to be Mekadesh and Isha. He goes over to a Bas Yisrael, he's Mekadesh. No, a guy, you can't do Kedushin. Chayshish from the Kedushin. We're concerned that the Kedushin is valid. She needs a get. Why? He's a guy. Shema Ma'aseres HaShvatim. We're concerned that perhaps he's a member of the Aseres HaShvatim who were sent into Galus Asher. Who knows? Maybe he's Jewish. And therefore, sorry. Aseres HaShvatim, who means he's a descendant of Aseres HaShvatim. Let's go to Rashi here. 7 lines from the bottom. Ma'aseres HaShvatim. So perhaps one of the members of Aseres HaShvatim married a Goysha woman, and they had children. And this child is a descendant of that union, in which case he's a Yisrael. He's a Mamzer, but he's a Yisrael. Shenasu Avedes Kechav. Because Savar. Now, we're of the opinion that the Avedes Kechav Meshiodim Yisrael have Vlad Mamzer. If a Goysha woman gave birth from a Yisrael lived with a Goysha woman, the child is Jewish, he's a Mamzer, and therefore the Chayshish and the Kedusha Mamzer have to be concerned that this Kedushin is a valid Kedushin. Big Chiddush. A couple of things. First of all, a Yisrael that was Ba'al Avedes Kechavim, the child is still Jewish. Number two, that v'chayshish, that any random guy relates back to Aseres HaShvat. The Gemara is going to ask on that. So you tell me chayshish in the Kedushin Shema Aseres HaShvatim v'called a parish, Muruba parish. Halacha is, you find a piece of meat in the street. You don't know it's kosher or not kosher. Take a look at the city. If most stores are selling kosher meat, called a parish, something which was separated from the bunch, Miru Parish, you assume it came from the majority. Mistama relates to the most. If there's more percentage of kosher meat, this is a kosher meat. So going in the street, why would you relate him? Why would you identify him as a ben Aseres HaShvatim? Most people in the world are playing goyim. And it says the Gemara beduchta de kfi. You went to the place where they reside. The place where the Aseres HaShvatim were taken to. That's their domain, that's their territory. In this case, we don't follow Rav. This is their territory. It's like the halacha of back to the meat. You approach a store. You buy meat, you go home, you forgot which store you went to. You're not sure, you have a suffix where you went. Did I walk into the kosher store or the non-kosher store? In this case, even though most stores in the city are kosher, you can't say it's kosher. It's only called a parish Murah parish when something is found in the street separate from its source. Then you have a right to say, well, Mistamid came from the Rav. Because we put everything into one equation. You have 90% kosher, this is probably kosher. But if you actually purchase it from one of the stores, each store is a separate entity. It's kavua, it's set in its place. There's no mix-up in the stores. It's not like you're evaluating, you're looking at the entire meat supply of the city and saying, well, 90% of the city is fine. So this meat found in the street is fine. Here you're looking at the store as a separate institution. Each store is a separate institution. You're relating to an institution. I bought from the store. I don't know which store I went to. So you can't bundle a bunch of all the stores together and say, well, 9 out of 10 is good. Each store is independent of the next one. He doesn't mix with it. He doesn't identify with the other stores. What then? So it's a straight out suffix. I'm not sure which one of these stores I went to. It's like a 50-50 chance. So here as well, you went to the Mokim where the Aseres HaShvatim were taken to. This is their domain, their territory. In this case, you don't say, well, we'll follow majority. It's 50-50. Therefore, you have to be choshish that perhaps this Mekadesh was Jewish. So again, although there were many goyim in those areas as well, but since it's a makom, it's their makom kviyas, it's his domain, he doesn't mix with the rest. Each one has an independent identity. Each person is reckoned for himself. So it's a plain out suffix. Are you Jewish or not? 50-50. You have to be choshish for Kedushin. Where is the makom of Aseres HaShvatim? The pasuk describes it. The Amar Abba Bar Kahana, Vayanchem. This was by Asher. He took them to all these places, Bachalach, Bachavar, Nargoizen, V'ari Madayich. So what are these places? Chalach, that's Zechilazin, this place called Chilazin. What's the other place? V'chavor, Zu Chadayav. Nahar Goizen, that's another place, Zu Ginzak. V'ari Madai, that's another place, Zu Chemdan, V'chavrisea, the main city, Chemdan, all the villages, cities around it. V'amila, others say Zu Nihar, V'chavrisea. Who are the Chaveris? What are these towns called? The Chaverisea Man? How do we, what are those other towns called? Amar Shmuel, Krach, Mushche, Chitki, V'dumki. Amar B'yechem, V'kul, Lefsul. All these places contain Mamzerim. Why? Because they were concerned that they're Aseres HaShvatim, they were Mamzerim. Mixed in with the Goyim and married his family, whatever it is. So this was who speaking? Rabbi Yehuda Amar Rav Asi. So earlier in his life, Rabbi Yehuda learned by Rav Asi, and he quoted this halach in his name. And what's the chiddush here? That a Yisrael who produces a child from a Goyish woman, that child is considered Jewish, a problematic Jew, a mamzer, but Jewish nevertheless. Here comes a chiddush. Ki amrisa kamidish Shmuel. After Rav Asi's passing, Rabbi Yehuda proceeded and learned by Shmuel. He says, look, I presented Rav Asi, my former Rebbe, as halacha to Shmuel, that a child born from a non-Jewish woman can have a din of Yisrael. He says, no, absolutely not. Only he tells him like this. Let's take a look at the psukim. Psukim and Dvarim Zayin. Don't intermarry, says the pasuk. Why? Because he's going to take your son away from you. Don't allow a non-Jew to marry your daughter, because he's going to take away your son. He's going to take him away from Yiddishkeit. It doesn't say she's going to take away your son. It says he's going to take your son away, your grandson. Why? Very simple. Because if it's a she, meaning your son married a guy, that Goyish woman's son is hers. He identifies with her. So that's why the pasuk doesn't say, don't worry, don't be concerned, she'll take away your son. Because if it's her son, then it's hers, it's not yours. It's not Jewish. Right? So the pasuk is speaking to a grandfather. Don't allow your children to intermarry, because that grandchild will be taken away from Yiddishkeit. He will take your grandchild away, because your daughter had a child. Even from a guy, that child is Jewish. The pasuk doesn't say, when you allow your son to marry his daughter, that daughter of a guy will take that child away from Yiddishkeit. She's not taking away anything. Her child is Goyish. So we learn from here, Amar le bincha ba min Yisrael is kar bincha. Your child, your grandchild, born from a Yisraelis, a Jewish woman, that child relates to you. He's Jewish. The key is the mother. Ve'ein bincha haba min ha'eved es kacham kar bincha. Whereas a child coming from Oivedis Kechavim, that doesn't relate to the grandfather. Ela B'nah, it's hers. He's not a Yisrael. Therefore, says Shmuel, what's the concern? Oivedis Kechavim approaches a Jewish woman as Mekadesh. Leave it alone. It's nothing. It's invalid. Maybe he's from the Seres HaShvatim. Well, too late. The Seres HaShvatim married the non-Jewish women. Their children are Goyim. Asks the Gemara. Okay, that addresses that side of the equation. What about Vayika Banis? What about the Jewish girls that were forced to live with the Goyim? That got mixed in with the Goyim. So the Banis of the Seres HaShvatim, their children, are Yisraelim. So perhaps we should be concerned that the Goy that was Mekadesh was a Jewish-born child. V'amar Ravina, didn't Ravina tell us? Shema, we learn from the Psukim that we just explained. Ben bitcha ba min ovid kechavim kar bencha. The son of your daughter, who married a Goy, that son is called your son. He's Jewish. The mother sets the tone. Jewish mother, Jewish child. So perhaps this man is a descendant of that union. Gemiru, we have a Kabbalah, we have a fact. The Bansa Dahudara, the Jewish girls in that time, when they went into Galus Aseres HaShvatim, Itztaru. Their rechem, their womb, got split in the way that they were unable to have children. And therefore, it was unfeasible for this scenario to develop, to unfold. Igad Amrit is another version of this last exchange. Ki Amrisa Kamei de Shmuel. Rabbi Yehuda says, when I approached Shmuel with this chiddush, that the descendants of the Aseres HaShvatim are considered Jewish, Amrali, he tells me, no concern. When it comes to Kedushin, invalid. Lo yizazu misham, because the Bezdin in that time didn't leave, meaning they wouldn't move away until they insisted on concluding the halacha as follows: Acha asam oivdei kechavim gemurim. Here, they considered the Aseres HaShvatim because they strayed, they converted. They consider them to be pure oivdei kechavim, without any ability to be mekadesh and isha. That's it. Some say this is a pure ruach hakodesh. Whatever the reason is, they consider them to be non-Jews. Shenamar b'Hashem b'godu ki bonim zorim yoladu. They rebelled in Hashem. They strayed. They're not considered. Their children are not considered Jewish children. Ki bonim zorim yoladu. The descendants are considered strayed and estranged, and don't identify as Jewish. Some of Farshim learn specifically when it comes to Kedushin, because the Kedushin is always adaita the Rabbanon, right? We say Kedas Moshe Yisrael. Chacham invalidated their Kedushin. So bottom line is, no concern. So what did we learn today? We started with Tzoras Ereva. They thought Rabbi Yosef ben Harkness was the one who spread the halacha, like Beishamai. Turns out that it was just his brother, and they ended up challenging his brother, and he was very impressed with Rabbi Akiva. 3 halachas we learned from Chagei Hanavi. Tzoras Abbas is Aser. In Amani Moav, they separate the portions for the Ani Ashmita, and regarding the cities, the nations, the Karduyim and Tarmudim, they're considered to be Goyim, Gemurim, and eligible for Gerus. They had all Shailim, Karduyim and Kartuyim and Tarmudim, different Shitos, and then the Gemara concluded that their concern in any of these towns is because of either the Goyim or the Avodim who were Baal Bas Yisrael, in which case the blood is a Mamzer. We spoke about the fact that the Goyim attacked the Bnei Yisrael, they attacked the Sefer Torah, and then we had an interesting machlekes at the end of the sugya regarding the reverse situation. A Yisrael who lived with an Oivedis Kechavim, what happens to that child? According to one Shita, child is Yisrael Mamzer. According to Shmuel and Ravina, Maskanas HaGemara, that it all depends on the mother's identity. Mother's a Jew, child's a Jew. Otherwise, there's no concern at all, and therefore, Bizman Hazeh, Oiv Gechametz Mekadesh Isha, Ein Choshishin L'Kedushin. All the best to you, and Hatzlacha Rabbah.